Okay, so this is day 3. We have finished most of the modeling for character, clothes, hair, shoes, and all. I'm going to do a little bit of changing because I feel like we can do, we can make her hair a little bit more puffy. What I'm going to do this is I'm going to hide everything else and then focus on this. Make it just a little bit puffy. Doesn't have to be symmetrical, it has to be similar. Do that. I think this is fine. Okay, so we're done with that. Next up, it's to do actually, before we do that, I'm going to add some accessories. All right, so the main accessory that I'm going to give her is just a simple necklace. It goes from here. So these are two options. And so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add a plane. Tilt this. Okay. So we're going to make, you can say it's like a diamond shaped gemstone. So I'm going to try this. Ooh, no, I think a better way just to rotate this 90 degrees. Oh, sorry, 45 degrees. There we go. I'm going to subdivide this and then I'm going to inset the face. The reason I did this is because now we have this topology that we can use to actually texture it. So this is a really nice way to get I would say crystal shapes almost. I'm gonna move this down. Okay. Now, obviously, the topology does not matter in terms of like what you see in solid view, but this will make it very important when you're texturing because each of these will be its own shade or like, pixel. And that's how you get this kind of gems. That's how I get at least this kind of gemstone look. And I think it's a very, very useful thing to do. So I think that's fine. I could make it a bit more square. Yeah, I think that's good. We'll increase the size to a good amount. This is going to be relatively small. Oops. The center of this thing. It's about that big. Yeah, that big is fine. And then we're going to add a solidify modifier. Offset at 0. 0.015, I think is a good size. Yeah, that's perfect. I am not going to give it shade smooth. I'm going to keep it flat shaded because I want these hard edges because it's going to be a gemstone, right? And then I also need to have this thingy, right? What do you call that? The string or the actual necklace, right? So how should we do this? We can use curves, but I don't think I want to use curves. I'm instead going to just use another plane, move it up. And I'm going to separate this and I'm going to make a mirror. I'm going to add another mirror modifier. This here. Correct. Move this back about here. Shoot this outwards. Oops. That wasn't supposed to happen. There we go. Right, so this is what we're going to use. Then I just add a few loop cuts here so we can smooth this out. I'm just going to take this and this, right? I'm going to correct it. Let's turn off solidified for now. So it starts here. This can go all the way up, just like this, a little bit thinner. Go outwards a little bit, upwards as well. Yeah, let's remove the guidelines. And this is what it looks like. I think this is fine. It might be better if we did it with curves, but curves are harder to control. And also, I don't think I need that because I can just take these edges, give it a vertex crease, and then subdivision modifier up top. That'll automatically smooth everything for me. Yeah, that's good. Now this one I will shade smooth. And the thickness is a little too much because it's supposed to be like a string, right? We're gonna lower the thickness and then do back there. All right, we got a necklace. Let me. Yeah, I can just crease you. Move it up a little bit. Actually, no, move it forward and down. Okay, let's take a look at the back here. I'm gonna extrude you backwards. Take this, extrude you to the side. And we are not perfectly at the center. That'll make you in the center. Crease this. Crease this. Oops. Right. Move this down a little bit. Cursor. 0. And there we go. Nice little necklace. That works. Next, I want to add a little bit of fluff to the hair by puffing it outwards, right? So right now it's flat, but I want it to puff outwards a little bit. We're going to do that as well. And delete this, right? It's a little easy to do that. So we're going to go into the selection. We're going to only select this front face. I'm going to go into the side. We're only going to select the front face. We're going to give it a vertex group and I'm going to call it deform. I'm going to assign it, right? And now we select this, press Shift A, look for lattice deform selected. We have a lattice now. And I'm just going to increase the cuts, specifically these two. I'm going to make it 5. Maybe 6 on, no, 5 on this, but 6 on this. Actually, no, this top one doesn't matter, right? 5 is 2, and then this I'll make the 7, has to be an odd number. And okay, because you have the lattice deformation, right? We're going to put it at the top, and we're going to make sure the vertex group only affects the deformed vertex group. We're going to take the centerpiece. We're going to turn on this thing, make it sphere. Take it out. Okay, here's the thing. I want it to be about here. So we're going to take this one. No, it might just be better if I use this one. Okay. Push this out a little bit. And then we'll turn off this and we can manually edit the bottom of the bottom. This will be pushed inwards. Right, it's got that shape that I'm looking for. A little bit more. Right. And then the center one, I did actually need the center one. I want the centerpiece to puff out as well. I can puff you upwards as well. I'll take a bunch of you. Puff you just a little bit up. Okay. And then if we take a look at the before and after, adds a tiny bit of volume. And I like adding these like small bits of changes. They also look better on the side. On the side, it looks like this now compared to this. So it looks better at certain angles as well. So that's really good. And if we want to, we can change how strong the effect is if we want. I'm going to leave the lattice on in case I want to have changes later. So where was the lattice, right? Here's the lattice. In addition to that, I have to make sure that this is parented to the head so that it falls with the head. If I don't do this, right? So like right now, oh shoot, it didn't, oh, the head itself is not parented. So I'm just gonna do this for now. It's not actually how you rig it, but we'll do it for now. More, actually, they're under this. I forgot from yesterday. Okay, all right. And right now, this is what it looks like. It's fine, right? If your lattice wasn't parented, let's say it was, we clear the parent, we hide it, this is what it would look like. It'll be better if we go from the side. It's hard to see, but you can kind of make out that the hair is deforming as we move, and that's not good. It's like not very obvious at the moment, but when you're doing animations, it'll be really obvious. So what's basically happening is this. Right now you can see if I move the lattice itself, you can see it. But if I move the hair, it's hard to see. But yeah, always make sure of that. So let me move the lattice into, well, first of all, parent the lattice to the head, and then we're going to move the lattice to a new location. Lattices, right? And let's hit it. So we now have the full model. We have a little bit of, oops, where did we lost something. There it is. There you go. Right, necklace is back. So we now have the hair, we have the, all the accessories and everything. I removed the pockets on our side because it didn't really look as good as I expected it to look. But all right, so next up is UV unwrapping. I'm just gonna move all of these to an extra collection and hide all of it. And this is the main focus. Before we do anything else, I just want to quickly go and rename some of this, right? So I'm gonna call this inner hair, outer hair, and then this is the side hair. Necklace string, uh, hair extra, and then here we have the necklace gem. Right, so necklace we can go together. Move this in base. Move both of these in here. Hair extra, and then these guys will just have hair collection. Move to the base, and yeah, we can disable this. Now we have everything here. We have the dress. We also have a shirt model if you want it. We're going to focus on the dress for now, but I'll show you how to unwrap the shirt as well. So let's find out what we need to unwrap. So let's just hide everything that's not in here. I'm going to select here. Body, not body. Eyes, oops, sorry, eyes. Sorry, necklace, dress, and hair. Oh, actually, wait, the shoes. I completely forgot about the shoes. New collection. Just going to call this lower half because we need all of these. Move this here. Okay, so necklace, lower half, dress, and hair. These are all the ones we need. I'm simply going to right click, select objects, invert the selection, and hide everything. So this is all of the important stuff. Okay, first step is going to be creating a new material, which I think I already did. Yeah, I'm going to call this, since this is a character, I'm going to give it the character's name. It's going to be Sue. Everything will have this exact same material. right? We're not going to have a separate texture for the hair, separate texture for the shoes and all. We're going to put all of this in one material or one texture, sorry. And this, it'll just be much easier when you have one texture to work with, because texture management, as well as, you know, you don't have to move 5 different files just so you can have one character, right? So all of this currently has just this default Blender material. So we're going to do, what we're going to do is we're going to add this shader editor panel here, principal BSDF. I'm going to do my usual setup, and it's just no specular, subdivision surface, maxed out at 1, crisp and burly, radius is 0.1, scale is 0.1. That's just my default settings. Doesn't really matter. What we care about is this base color. We're going to add an image texture, connect to the base color, and then we're going to click on new. We're going to create a new image. I'm going to call this casual, I guess, because it's going to be a casual outfit. Width and height, I usually do 128. It's always better to overestimate what your texture size is than it is to underestimate. So we're going to do 128, 128, and it's going to be a color grid and not blank. Blank will just give you like whatever color you chose here. Color grid will give you an actual grid, and you can use that to line up your pixels. So I'm going to go and create a new one. And as you can see, we have color now, and it's also like really messed up. All right, before we actually start with the UV unwrapping, what we first have to do is we have to first mark some seams. As what a seam is basically it is a way for Blender to distinguish between different UV islands within the same mesh. For example, let's take this piece of hair. If I were to unwrap this, it would look like this really long strip of hair. Now, this is a little bit difficult to actually edit and move because, you know, it takes up quite a lot of space and it's hard to pack the UVs this way. So what you want to do instead is you want to, you know, take your edge select tool, click on these edges, right click, and mark the seam. Now, when we UV unwrap this, they get UV unwrapped as different pieces. So, and it's also really nice in edit mode because if you have a seam and you press L, it will only select the seam will act as a boundary, so you can't select past that boundary, and it's really useful both in edit mode and when you're UV editing, right? So we're gonna have to distribute quite a lot of these seams just so we can have different sections. So what I do, since you're following my tutorial, I'm just gonna explain what I do for my seams. Each like face, or for these kind of objects that wrap around something. So for example, the hair has the front and it wraps around to the back as well, right? If you have those kind of things, you will always want a seam for each side because it makes it much easier to like have, you can have each of them in their own separate sections. So it makes it easier to texture sometimes, right? So we do that, and then we UV unwrap it, and it looks like this. Also, before we continue, I think I'm gonna go to our image. I'm gonna make it closest. There we go. And that's how you UV unwrap it, right? We'll do the same thing for the sides, but the sides actually don't have anything connected. So this is, we can just do this immediately, right? It's done. Next up is this one. This one has quite a bit, so I'm gonna take these two, and we're going to mark the seam. UV unwrap, and we have three separate parts. Now here's the thing. I guess I could show you this. If we didn't UV unwrap it, you'll have these kind of rotations that are really hard to control. For example, because I want this pixel density, let's say we want this to be 2 pixels wide. You size this down until it's about 2 pixels. This is about 2 pixels, but notice, right? Let's say I line these two up here. This kind of goes in. Okay, which one is this? Let's find out which one is this. Right, this one here, right? You can see that the pixels kind of just cut into each other, and we don't want that. And you have to, you know, you have to manually edit this, but that's could sometimes cause issues, right? So usually you mark the seam, and then you can sort of, we mark these as seams, and we leave it as is actually, like, because sometimes when you edit this, right, it moves not only itself but also it moves the face right next to it, or the edges right next to it. That can make it really difficult when you're doing UV unwrapping. So that's why you add seams, right? Get out. Here's another one. We're gonna Give these guys a seam, and then you, actually wait, this top part needs a seam as well. Right, UV unwrap it, and that's relatively straightforward. The nice thing about the mirror modifier is that it also actually mirrors the UV, so you have to do half of the work, which is super simple. Now, for these kind of things, let's say you have a shape that is a polygon, right? It's a closed shape. Usually, or no, it doesn't have to be closed shape, but like it has to be a shape where one side is closed. The other side could also be closed, but that has like a different thing you have to do, right? So for example, let's say you have a closed shape with an open end. So like this. Or actually, wait, technically this is a closed shape. Yeah, this is a completely closed shape. We have a thing here, right? Which actually shouldn't be there. I should be deleting it, but just to as an example, I'm going to show you how you would UV unwrap this, right? Because if I were to UV unwrap this as is, it does not work. It straight up just doesn't work. What you need to do is you need to add a seam specifically in these two edge faces, right? So we will add a seam right here. But even then, it still doesn't work properly anyway, because you get this weird ass UV unwrap. And this is, I guess this is called like a cylinder unwrap, because if you look at this thing, right? If we remove the top and the bottom, it's a cylinder. It's basically a cylinder, and this is what cylinder unwrapping looks like. We don't want that. We want a flat unwrap. So we're gonna go back here, and we're going to add another mark. We're gonna mark another seam. Just choose any arbitrary edge, like this one, and mark it as a seam. And now when you UV unwrap it, it's straight. Because what it's able to do is it's able to basically cut this. So it's cutting this, right? And then it can like flatten it out. That's basically what it's doing. Apologies for this. So yeah, so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, right? So you're able to flatten it out like this. That's basically what this combination of seams does. So you need one over here, you need one over here, and then you need any single edge. Another way you can, if you're really lazy, you can also technically just mark everything as a seam so that each individual face will get its own UV island. However, that is going to be a pain in the ass to actually control. So I would recommend you not doing that. But that's technically how Blockbench does it, if anybody's interested in that information. All right, now that you guys know how to do that, I'm just going to quickly delete this face. Yeah. And it's the same for if you have this shape, right? So you have a polygon that's open in one end. All you need to do is you need to select this, and you need to select this. So the combination is this, and then you just mark the seam. All right, you have that. Next up, let's do this square, or like this hollow square donut. This one is even simpler. You just need to take one of the edges and mark that seam. And then when you UV unwrap it, it'll just be one long rectangle. Same thing here. We're going to mark one edge as a seam, and then everything else can just be UV unwrapped simply. Ooh, but look at this. We have a circular pattern. That's going to be difficult to UV. That's going to be difficult to place properly. So we're going to have to actually add more seams here. Now when we UV unwrap it, they're mostly straight and they're all separated. Right? You know with that, ooh, let's do the gemstone next, because this is really simple. So this is one of the only times where I actually mark everything as a seam and then UV unwrap it. And then you can kind of see this crystal-like pattern already emerging, right? And all you do is just you size it down. Now let's change this into individual origins and then size it till like there's nothing. There's nothing. And yeah, and this is how you get that crystal look. I also noticed that this is actually not supposed to have a thing. So I'm going to give it a new material. I'm going to call it uh amber pendant. This is going to be orange. Okay, and then we're just going to remove the subdivision or subsurface scattering. It was more sharp. Yeah. Back up. Next up is this one. This one's going to be super simple. I'm going to UV unwrap it. However, it doesn't, I don't really care about all of this. Actually, I care about this part. Mark seam. So I UV unwrap it again. And then I'm just gonna make it really straight because this is gonna be one. How do I say it? It's gonna be 1 pixel wide, so I don't really care about the. Yeah, it's gonna be like this. That's fine as is. If you ever have issues with your textures kind of bleeding into another face, a simple way to fix that is to go. It's usually because of subdivision. You go to your subdivision, go to advanced. Instead of keep boundaries, you go keep corners and junctions. Or actually, it doesn't work. Is that okay? So it seems like it's a Catamount Clark issue. I'm gonna duplicate this. Catamount Clark on the second one. There we go. You need to add the crease. Oh, right. So if you have any issues with your things, make sure you always add a crease. Yeah, that fixes everything. Just do a little bit of. Actually, I'm just gonna delete this. Yeah, it looks better that way. Right. Next one. Okay, I think we've already done this, right? We've already done this. We've done this. Next is this belt. Same thing. I'm just gonna add a seam there. UV unwrap it. Okay, leave it as is for now. We'll do the actual like UV thing later. Right. These actually already look nice, but I'm just gonna do it again. It's this look. You can see how it rotates in one direction. We're gonna add seams to stop that. Add 2 seams here. Add 2 seams here. And then we UV unwrap it one more time. And yeah, that's good. It has all of them have their own areas, and we can move on. Right, this is another case where you just take the bottom, or so we take the top, we take the side, and then we mark the seam. Oops. We mark the seam, and then we UV unwrap it, and we get a really clean square UV here. I really like that. And here's another one. Take the side here, take the side here. There's nothing in the bottom, so we can mark seam. There we go. And okay, this is usually the most annoying part, is the shoes. Okay, we'll start with the easy ones here. So these I can just bam, and we're done. Next are these. This is another easy one. These are all just planes. Planes are super. Planes just UV unwrap really well, like this. Cubes, on the other hand, have we need to do the whole thing. Mark seam. And since we already have a breaking point here, we don't have to mark the seam vertically. All right. In this case, I want to delete these two. And then mark these two as a seam. Then this. Right, then we also have this inner part. How do I break, select these two, delete it, because we're not going to see it, so there's no point in having those. Mark the seam, unwrap, perfect. Here's another one. Ooh, I accidentally select the whole thing. Okay. Done with that. We just did this, I think. Yeah. Next is this. This one's super simple. We just unwrap it. This as well. Ooh, actually, this might not be as simple as I thought. Because you have this. Oh, no, they're all just planes. Yeah, we just UV unwrap it. Easy peasy. I think that should be all. If we. Holy damn. It's like only the feet, only the shoes, and I don't see anything. They're all cubes, right? So if they're all cubes, it basically means it's done. Just in case, I'm gonna do this one by one. This is done. 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 This, yeah, okay, everything's done. Perfect. Okay, now we have successfully UV unwrapped it. Now we have to edit the UVs so that they're actually good. This is the part that takes usually the longest. And before we start, I would recommend you guys all go into your UV editor. Let's go here and then right click on the UV editor so you can see all of the operations you can do. I would add, I think it's align vertically and align horizontally. I would put those into your quick favorites. I think I have aligned vertically as my quick favorite because I usually align them vertically anyway. But both you'd want to put these both in your quick favorites because you're going to be doing that a lot. All right, so let's start off here. What are we going to do? We're basically going to group up different parts of the mesh into different colors. So, for example, I'm going to decide that I want the hair UVs to all line up with the red area. And then I'm going to want the shirt or the dress to go in the green area. And then I want the shoes to be in the blue area. Maybe the pants will be purple, right? And doing this will just make it really easy to organize everything. It's very nice if you organize it because if you look at a Minecraft skin, most people, or at least most people who have ever made a Minecraft skin, can automatically just know, okay, this part is the leg, this part is the body, this part is the head, right? And it's really easy for them to do that. And that's because Minecraft has really nice UV mapping. We want to do the exact same thing. It's not technically required, but the more it's very nice if you have that sort of organization, I must say. So let's start off with the hair, and we're not going to need anything else. So I'm just going to look only at the hair. I forgot I didn't explain what that button was. That was numpad's forward slash to isolate your selection. Okay, so I think hair is usually pretty straightforward. So what I like to do is I always like to put them like side by side. So you see these strands, I'm going to put them as is like that, side by side. Make sure you have spacing between your UV islands, however, because sometimes it's going to be really annoying when you have a non-pixel perfect brush, or if you're doing this in Blockbench, sometimes it has a tendency to bleed, or sorry, not Blockbench, but Blender. If you do this in Blender, the texturing part, I mean, it has a tendency to bleed into certain UV islands, and it's kind of annoying when that happens. I don't know why it happens, but it does happen. So it's best to just avoid that. So first thing I like to do is I like to turn off UV sync selection so I can not clutter my workspace. And then I'm just gonna use this text to orient it. So I want it to be straight like this. I'm gonna move it here. And before I do anything, actually, I want to select everything, and I want to scale it down at the same time because I want it's easier this way if you scale everything at the same time. Also, what is this? I haven't seen this yet. What is this? Oh, it's the inside thing. Oh, I did. Oh, shoot. I didn't UV unwrap those. Oh, apologies. Let me go and properly UV unwrap those. Okay, and then we have to do this all over again. So UV unwrap everything. And everything's nice and spaced out. We're going to go and scale everything at the same time so that we get a nice pixel density over here. So I'm likely going to be making this either 3 or 2 pixels wide. So I think a little bit smaller will work. Yeah, we'll work with this. I can work with this. So I'm gonna take this, move it over here. Again, I need to make sure that the orientation is right. So if I look at this, I'm looking at the top, right? This is the top, so we're gonna flip it by 180 degrees. We're gonna put this over here. I think 2 pixels will be fine. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna select an edge, go into edge select mode, select this edge, press Q or right click, and then align vertically. And then do this for each of these. Boom. Yeah, and that's how you do it. It's really simple, but it's a little tedious. And you don't have to be perfect, but you just have like a little bit of gap in these things. And I like to have the center line exactly at the center of these pixels. All right. There's a little bit of you can say distortion on the edge, and I think that's mostly again due to the subdivisions. I think I can, yeah, there we go. Keep corners, junctions, and concaves, but don't keep all the boundaries. Okay, and now we go with the next one, which is this. Oops. right here. We can see the shape is pretty much the exact same. We're going to rotate by 180. It's likely that all of these are need to be rotated by 180. I think not this one, not this one. Okay, no, it's only these two that need to be rotated. Okay, that's all good. Some of these are actually already good enough that you don't have to, you won't have to do any like aligning. You can just squeeze them in and it'll be fine, especially if you're using like a small pixel density. So yeah, I don't have to align this one, but I like to do it anyway because it's cleaner. Also, this might be a late tip, but I have been told by a patient who I would regard as my teacher in this sort of modeling style is that you usually want to UV unwrap before you do any of the intricate details. So for example, you saw how I added these kind of flaps to the bottom of the hair. You would usually want to first unwrap it and then add these kind of details because it just makes it much easier when you're actually UV unwrapping because you don't have to work with these things. It'll basically be like this when you're UV unwrapping, right? But then when you actually model it, it'll split on its own, right? But it'll still have this, which is what you would want, right? So that's just a late tip for next time. But I don't usually do it, so I didn't, and it wasn't an issue for me. So yeah, you can do that if you want. Anyway, notice how we have some spacing, right? We have a 1 pixel spacing between each of this, and this is to prevent any texture bleeding. Now for this one, I'm I could do 4 or I could do 3. If I do 4, I can evenly split this up. So I think I'm going to do 4. Which is nice. I can just put this in the very center. And then I'm going to straighten, sorry, I'm going to align it vertically. Okay. And this is all good. It's a little bit squished, and I think I personally am okay with that. I could squish it, or sorry, I could squash it downwards a little bit just to make it a bit better. Or actually, no, it has to get up. There we go. Nah, I actually like this better. I'm okay with like a small amount of stretching. This is not supposed to be pixel perfect, right? And we just keep on doing this for the rest. All right, I'm gonna add a little bit more info here. So the way you UV wrap your or UV edit your UVs will actually change how it looks in the thing, obviously, right? But you can, because you have subdivision surfaces, you can actually add curvature into these things. So you can see how it's curving a little bit when I move this. And so like there's nothing I can't give you guys any tips on this, but like playing around with this and the position of your vertices can help you give a certain look you want. So for example, if I want this hair to look like it's kind of curving like this, right? I can do that by just adjusting these points. So for example, let's say I want this curve to be highlighted, right? I can move this a little bit inwards and you can see it kind of goes like this. Of course, the more control points you have, the better it is. But too much control points can just be tedious to do. So if I add another one here, I can control it even further. I can make this one go up and then this one go in. So you can definitely now, I just pronounced you can see it here now, right? There's like small things like that you can do. But of course, if you're making a lot of characters in a short amount of time, you want to do this fast. So I usually only bother with that if I want to really focus on making one character look good. But yeah, usually it's fine. All right, for some of these hair strands, right, where it's shaped kind of like this, right? It's shaped like this. I would honestly keep one side curved because I think it's better that way. Because or else we'll have like texture stretching. So like here's an example, right? It's too long, but I'm gonna keep one of them curved so that it looks kind of like this. Maybe in the end, I'll make it a little bit more pronounced. Yeah, something like this, right? I think I like this better. Increase this. There you go. Now in this case, this is a little bit. I'm just gonna align them. In this case, I don't really care about this one. Gonna be 2. Okay, and that is the hair, all UV mapped properly. Things to note is obviously in these connections, you would try to make them at least the same pixel density. It doesn't have to be aligned exactly, but like sometimes it's better if it is aligned directly. So in this case, I would do that. But again, especially if you have darker hair, this stuff is like hard to notice. Like you can always cheat by just giving them a hat, and you don't have to care about that stuff. But yeah, just some things to note. Now this one is really hard to do, right? Where you want to align these to this. It's really tedious, and I do not think it's worth it, right? Because it's unlikely that you're going to be all focusing on your character at this angle, and you're close enough to see that these are unlined, right? Most likely you're going to be looking at it from this angle, and you can see that from here, this is totally fine. I don't see any issues with this, right? That's my 2 cents. Let's move on to another area. Let's focus on the shirt, right? And I'll decide. I think we should put the shirt on green. I'm also just gonna select a large part of everything, and I'm going to. Oops, yeah. Oh, I actually forgot to UV unwrap this. Ooh, there we go. UV unwrap that. Oh, and also, I think I might as well just UV unwrap everything at the same time. There we go. That's a tip. If you UV unwrap things at the same time, it'll spread everything out and they'll all have the same pixel density, which is super duper useful. Now, once we have this, we're going to scale it down even further based off of the shirt. So let's say this is a little too much. The default Minecraft one is 8 pixels across, so I'm going to try and match that. But I think this is a really good density right now, and also fits everything. We can also do twice. I'm going to try to do 1.5 just to add a little bit more pixels. And I think we can work with this. Put this on the side. Take a look at this. We're going to move you over to the green area. Because this is mirrored, we don't have to worry about both sides. So here, let's take a look. Let's start with the front first, right? So the front will be here. And then this side, which is this, will be here. And this one will be, this is the back, right? You have to rotate this like this, and we can just line it up perfectly. Right, something like that. Or actually, no, I should just, is this fine? I think it's fine, actually. Yeah, right. So let's decide how do we want this to be. If here's I guess the most important part of this is, do you want it to be odd or even numbered, right? Because if you look over here, it's currently even numbered. How can I say is because these two have the same pixel, right? An odd number of pixels would be if you did this, right? So that we have one that goes straight to the middle. This is usually to determine if you how you want to texture it. So again, right, if we look at this one, we're able to make one single pixel the center line, but if we use the even configuration, if we color one pixel here, we'll automatically color the other one there. Now, sometimes this doesn't matter, sometimes it does matter. So yeah, depending on where you place your thing, you might want to, take a look at that. One thing we can do is we can try. So this is the current like flat. I would call this like a flat UV projection where you have basically the pixels are all perfect, you could say, right? But you'll have these areas where you don't show the whole pixel. Another way you can do this is if you decide to align this. All right. If you decide to, let's say we take this area and we just align it. Now the pixels will snap to the corner, but you get site deformations. There's no easy way to fix this, or like there's no like obvious choice you'd want to make. So this is really up to you. Do you guys want to have this? Do you want to have complete pixels that are deformed, or do you want to have perfect pixels that are cut off? That's the choice you guys have to make. Some other things that I like to do is whenever I have like a sharp edge, I always want to make sure that the pixel edge is on the sharp edge. So in this case, right, I would want to shift this a little bit so that something like this. So here I would swing that horizontally, and here we have that. This is fine. I am okay with this. I'm okay with this being a little bit like that. I can always fix it by selecting the, or not fix it, but I can like make it less obvious by spreading out this deformation across the whole mesh. Right, so I can even it out. Okay. Now, also, I guess I should also teach you how you would do this if you, for some reason, wanted to make it non-symmetrical. Well, there's a lot of reasons why you would want to make it non-symmetrical, right? Let's say you have a design that goes across the shirt, right? And you need to, it can't be symmetrical. In that case, what you're going to do is you're going to have to apply the mirror modifier. And then let's assume this is the mirror line. You're going to select one side. And you're just going to simply flip it. 2D cursor, flip it. Here's an issue though. You will have to add a mean crease. Press Y. Actually, you don't actually need to do that. Let's try this again. What you need to do is you need to select your side and press Y here. That'll separate it from here. You can simply do -1. And now you have a mirrored UV map. Right? Since I think I might try making an asymmetrical design. I'll actually use this. Right, let's move on to the next area, which is this. Now we'll count 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 on the shirt, so it should probably be a similar one on the belt. Look at this. This is the edge. We're gonna add it right there. By 90 degrees, and I'm honestly just gonna shrink it so that it's like paper thin. Take a look at this. Starts here, so I'm gonna rotate this 180. Right. So if I select these two, it's this, right? So this has to be in total 8. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I want to end it here. Or to look at you two. Oh, not you two. These two. Right. It has to end here. Just remember this. There we go. Now if you look at it, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna do a trick. Whenever you hold Alt and you change any setting, if a separate object has the same setting, it will also change at the same time. So for example, all of these have a subdivision modifier, and all of them have UV smooth set to keep boundaries. I want to make all of them keep corners, junctions, and concave. You can do this, one by one. You can do this via coding, or you can select everything, hold Alt, and do this. Now, everything should change. Everything that has the UV smooth should change. And it seems like they did. Take a look at this. Ooh, here's an issue. I want to make sure that these guys are all tightly glued together, because that'll cause issues otherwise. And there we go. Oh, here's an issue. I have to push you a bit further. There we go. Nice. Moving on to the sleeves. We're gonna go with this, and we're gonna go with this because those are the same thing. All right, for the sleeves or for anything like related to the hands, I would usually first start off with determining how much pixels is this square. So I'm likely gonna, I always use 3 by 3 because I like 3 by 3. So we're gonna snap this to pixels, right? 3 by 3, and then here, these things, we're gonna move it up closer, figure out which one is the starting one right here. It starts off like this. Other way around. R180. Starts off like this. Let's look at this edge. Oh, actually, it's not that like that. It's like this. There we go. And we'll start off by aligning this vertically, and then we have to make sure to size this until it shows that it's approximately 3 pixels. Okay. Now here's an issue, right? Because of the way I've modeled this, it's either I follow one edge or I stretch the thing. I This is just an issue almost always have. I'll try 180 again because it's this way. And there's not really an easy fix for this. You can try make it all, I guess, cubic, right? And then it'll have like the stretched look, but sometimes it doesn't look good, right? So I'm gonna start off just by making sure that all of these are 3 pixels long. That's the important part for me, because it has to have continuity with this back part. Right, so right now, it's fine. Now, I do not like how they all slant in one direction. So it seems like we're going to be doing it this way. We're going to be designing it so that they stretch outwards. Yeah. So we're going with the cubic format. Yeah. So it doesn't look as good as I want it to look, but it's working. Another thing I can do is, because we're stretching this out, it seems like we're squishing it like this, right? It's getting squeezed like this. We're going to try and stretch it out in that direction as well. So we do that by just shrinking this, and then we shrink this as well. I'll make this 2, and here we're gonna make it as 1. We get this look. It's not perfect, but we can work with it. Adding a subdivision. Actually, it's big. I just noticed, because this is uh as a subdivision modifier, we might want to add another one, but this one will be set to simple. It has to be before solidified. This because I think this will help. Yeah, this will help like with the textures. It'll help align the textures, so we'll do that. And I think I will have to accept that this is okay with me. Oh, here we have an issue on the side here. Right. I'll see if I can also. Yeah, I could step into the pixels as well, so they're even better. And I can live with this. This one, move it up close. Basically, just want this to be 3 pixels long. We do that. That's not. That's perfect. And finally, these guys. Move it up. I will likely snap these guys as well. So what I'm going to do here actually is I'm going to make sure that these guys are in the same location, because they're all the same shapes. It's all symmetrical. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to snap them all at the same time, so I get something symmetrical. Shift S, selected the pixels. And look at this. This is what it looks like. Honestly, that is perfect. Exactly what I need. Except for this bottom part, actually. This bottom part has two when it should have only one. Right? Let's look at it. You could barely see it, but there's like two shades there. So oh wait, no. Yeah, it has two shades. So I'm gonna separate them. Is that how it works? Or am I actually just crazy? I think I might be crazy. Okay, no, I think I might just be crazy. No, I don't think I'm crazy. Am I crazy to think that there is two there? Ooh, it might actually just be a cavity thing, right? It was a cavity thing. Okay, I wasn't crazy. We'll leave it as is then. Okay, this is fine. Just okay. I think I'll move this one a little bit to the side just so we can have a we can see the difference. Yeah, there we go. You can see that now. And then we're gonna do this as well. View here. Okay, these two are the same thing. So I'm just gonna make sure that they overlap, and then I can snap them. The reason I'm snapping is simply because I'm lazy. It'd be annoying to do this manually, so I'm snapping them. Is this? Yeah, there we go. It's almost the same shape. Doesn't really matter. When I snap, it will be the same. It won't be the same. Okay, yeah, I think I should have possibly made this one a little bit better. I definitely didn't do a good job on this one. You might have to re-wrap this or re-unwrap this. Yeah, this is bad. I'm gonna try this. I'm gonna do this one again. There you go. I think that's a good pixel density. Uh, to add the cavity back because I want to see the edges. There we go. I can see the edges better. And yeah, I am satisfied with that. I could add another subdivision modifier, make it simple. Move it behind the solidify. Take a look at it. Is it fine? Yeah, it's minuscule, if anything. If I kept all the boundaries, it looked like that. If I keep only the boundaries, it looks like that. If I keep nothing, it looks like that. We have an issue here. Align horizontally. Move it up. There we go, much better. Okay, next up. This one. Scale it down. I think this is like a 4x3 kind of thing. It looks like a 4x3. Yeah, it looks like it's about 4x3. Move this to the center. And these, I'll just make it a straight line. Same as the other ones. Right, another easy one we can do is this, right? Technically, we've already done it before, but we're going to do it again. We're going to UV-Unwrap this. We're going to make it all so that it's 0. And you have this kind of UV wrap. We're going to move it to that you go closer. And we're going to make this purple, I think. I think that's what I said. I already forgot. But yeah. Because there's 3 levels. We're going to align this horizontally. Okay. And then we simply just, this is super easy. Again, depending on how you decide to actually do this, you might want to add a bit of padding, but I'm not going to add padding because I'm going to do this in Blockbench. And since they're all in the same like planar face, you won't usually have that issue. So that's basically the UV for that. I've already UV'd this. I have not UV'd this yet. I'll give you a cyan color. Yep, simple as that. We just keep, that's good enough, right? All right, next is the legs. So the legs are already really, they're already like perfectly shaped. We just need to change the, what's it called? We need to change the pixel density. We're gonna make it 4 by, we could make it 4. Let's make it 4. Skirt. Let's make all of it uh, dark pink purple. All right, we'll start from this front one. Start with this all the way down here. We have to decide which side we want to follow. I will likely follow this, or so, right. This is my like thought process of on how I'm going to do it. I think anything to the right should follow the right edge, and anything to the left should follow the left edge. There's no like scientific reason why that's a good idea. I think it's just, if it's consistent, it'll look better. It'll also kind of give it that asymmetrical look, or like it feels asymmetrical because, the left uses the left, the right uses the right, but it's also symmetrical because left is left, right is right, if you know what I'm saying. I don't know. I'm just trying to add some philosophy to this and it's not making sense. So I'll just shut up for now and keep on going. All right, so step one is, okay, so we're gonna take this. Oh, and notice how they're all connected. We're just gonna disconnect everything here. I should have added a crease, but I didn't. Right, so here, oh wait. Okay, so how much do I want this to be? I want the bottom to end with 3. Let's see if I can do that. There we go. That's what happens if the bottom ends with 3. That is way too big. Bottom ends with 6 is a little too big as well. So we'll make the top start with 2. That means the bottom ends with 4. I can accept that. Okay, good. So we'll just undo everything. And then we'll select everything and then we'll make it follow. So we're going to make it start with 2, end with 4. Yeah, this is it. Now everything is following kind of the same thing. You separate and I'll move you in so you're the same as this. So we have to, I have to do less work if I do this. And then here, we're going to rotate it so that this is the straight line. All right, scale it up a little bit, move it to the side so we have some spacing. Move you down. And yeah, I think that's what it was, right? Did I make a mistake here? No, I didn't. Okay, I didn't line it up perfectly. And also it's not straight, so line vertically. There we go. Much better. Okay, and then we just repeat this over and over again. And I also noticed that this was a good idea because now whenever it goes to this side, we can actually make it match. Because if we did it the other way, it wouldn't have matched. But there's always a reason why you should think these out, even though the answer might not be obvious. Right, and now look at that. It almost perfectly matches. Back, it's gonna be 4 on the side, and I'm totally fine with that. We could make it match however much this is, but there's just simply way too much on the side for this one. So it doesn't make sense. The pixel density is kind of different, but I think it's fine. If it becomes a problem, I can always just scale these UVs by 2, and then it'll match, right? So for now, I'll do this. I think it's fine. Right here, we're going to do the same thing we did there. And also, I know, yeah, I made the back part simpler because, again, I'm not going to be showing the back side of the character very often. I would usually want to focus on the front side. So the back side has less details. Like, this one has the frills, but I can always add the frills back in because, all you need to do is just Alt V. It's not faces, sorry, but we could just Alt V this, and we can always do it again. But for now, we'll leave it as is, just for simplicity's sake. Right, let's figure out where this is. There it is. Go to this one. We're gonna align vertically. Rotate it like that. Let's go over to this corner. Align this horizontally. Down. Yeah. It's a little bit not exact. So let's fix that at the bottom here. I'm gonna size it until they match. There we go. Perfect. And then if we wanted, to do the thing, I would, okay, let's save, and I would just increase this, and then I'll Alt V, move it, okay, I'll do this, and then I'll take this, move it down, and I'll move this back. And that's how we do it. Move it inside, and then we'd have like, this new thing, which I would then separate with Y, move it to the side, and then rotate until it's straight. Size it down, it matches. And yeah, okay, I've basically just done it. And okay, that was a really good example of UV editing first, and then adding detail. Patient was right, as always. He does have these kind of issues. Okay, not too sure how to fix. That'll be fine for now. Right. I see this is like that's yeah, these are kind of useless. I might as well just delete them for now. Just to simplify the mesh a little bit further. This adds that little bit of flare, but then again, I don't actually need it because I can add that flare during rigging. So I'm going to remove these just to simplify the mesh. There we go. Also, I want to size this slightly because you're kind of popping out into the bottom part. Right. Let's take a look at this. Ah, she didn't do this one yet. Do the shoes next. Make it blue. We'll straighten these. And then we'll just do a simple, yeah. These are technically almost the exact same, so I'm just gonna make them the exact same. Like this. Okay. Here's the thing I'm gonna do because these are just, the same. Delete those. Add an empty. Duplicate. Solidify must be at the end. Right. There we go. So we have the same UV map for these two. All right, since all of these are technically the same, I'm going to overlap them as well. So they all have the same texture. I only have to do it once. Three at the bottom is not good. We'll do four at the bottom. Oh wait, no, there's three at the side. My bad. Oh wait, they're just completely different ones. Okay, I didn't even realize that. 4 by 3, yep. Everything adds up on the side as well. I can. Is it? It's not the same though. So I can't just copy what I did here. Or can I? I think I can. Yeah, I can actually, and I will. Look at this front one. Let's make it 4 by 3. Okay, 4 by 3. That means this top one has to be 4 by 3 as well. Right, 4 by 3. This one's 3 on the side as well. It's a bit of a stretch, but I think it's fine. Oh, actually, here's a smart thing I can do is I can just move it in here. So we have a cutoff, but we have more pixel perfect pixels, and then we have one cutoff pixels. I'm okay with that. Here we're just gonna do the same thing. Actually, just make it 3 here because this is fine. This one is actually 4. Still gonna do the same trick. No, but we cut it off here instead. Or no, this actually works with 3 perfectly. Yeah. 4 by 3. Okay, and then we're just make it so that they're all in the purple. Okay. And I think that is it. We've did it. Mostly. Slight issue here. Yeah. Okay, and then we just come back over here because I skipped this part. All right. And with that, we have UV unwrapped everything except for the shirt. Let's quickly do the shirt because I did say I was going to do the shirt. But it is mostly the same. So I'm going to do a bit of cleanup for this. There's an end gone there, so we do need this. But honestly, I don't think this is necessary. Yeah, I think this is better. Wait, no, this is not better because this is multiple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we're gonna have to dissolve this. Dissolve this vertice. Do this. No, honestly, this is fine. Even if we go like this, you can barely see it. Yeah, that's good. Just to simplify all the geometry, and then we're gonna add our seams. Make this top one its own. Right. Now we can unwrap it. Use a dark green for this one. Okay, I'm gonna decide on using a odd arrangement. There we go. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's pretty good. I think I will accept that. This part I will vertically straighten. Okay, and you can see how it kind of goes to the side there, which was expected. Add a subdivision. Yeah, I like that. I like that. It'll be difficult because I have to somehow. Oh, yeah, I have to somehow like match it to the side here. But that's like much easier because I can do this. Oh, actually, wait, no, because I did this actually. It's fine. Oh wait, no, I didn't. Boom. This has to go up here. Right. I am satisfied with this. The top one, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I do not care what the top one looks like. Because, well, okay, I guess I should make it so that it at least looks slightly good because maybe you guys don't have collars. Something like this, right? Something like this is fine. Let's make it straightforward. Same as last time, we're just gonna match it so that this has, I guess 4 is fine. We'll make this one a 4. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's done. This one as well. Oh, this is another one of those where I applied it. It's not. It wasn't designed for this, so it's fine. But we have it now. Okay, so we can remove that. Get the dress back. Put this back into the shirt area. And yeah, we now have UV unwrap this. I do notice that we're missing the ponytail, but at this point, I'm okay with not having the ponytail. Right. After this, another important thing you'd probably want to do is to select everything. Go into UV editor. Make sure everything is individual origins and separate faces by select edges. Scale this slightly down and then redo everything. Right? And that fixes some of those. There were some issues with like the sides not showing the same UVs as the front. That'll fix those. Something I want to change. Move you a bit forward. Yep, that's good. Okay, and now we have add a solidify modifier to this. Anything else we need to solidify? I don't think so. Let's move this. This is a little thin. But we'll have issues like that. What we can do is set this thickness to, yeah, we can set the offset. Sorry, my can't speak properly today. I set the offset to 0 so that it goes inwards and outwards, so the inwards does not have a chance to show on the outside. Could also do this, but then we have issues like that, so we're not going to do that.